Hey everyone, and welcome to another episode of the GankTank, and I am going to kill you, John.
Why?
Why? Because we just talked for I don't know how long, and we weren't recording a damn word of it.
Let's recap Watch Dogs, how awesome it is, how it's similar to Deus Ex,
Yeah.
how
But
I should
that's,
play
we
more.
only think it's similar to Deus Ex simply because of the system that it uses. I mean, it looks like it has similar gameplay, but that's only because of the system it
It's
uses.
only because there's so many games, let's be honest.
Yeah, it's really that there's so many games, it's kind of hard to make something original nowadays. I mean, you can have original concepts, but that's
And
about it.
original mechanics.
And original mechanics, but mechanics are a little bit harder to come up with.
That is true.
Um,
Note, for example, the game that we're watching now is Portal, which had a very cool mechanic and
yeah,
concept.
yeah, they did. It's one of the few ones that weren't really played with. I'm sure the idea came up from other places, but they didn't. No one really wanted to attempt it. Um, Also, another thing is that a lot of these games nowadays, they just don't come up with good concept artists at all. Like you see a lot of aliens and things like that take a lot of influences off of other games and other universes that have already been created.
Not enough originality in their
Yeah,
alien designs.
exactly. I mean, look at the Covenant from Halo, which is extremely similar to the Protoss from StarCraft. Like it's almost
Oh,
identical.
he went there.
I did go there. It literally is almost identical. And the Flood, extremely similar to the Zerg race, almost identical there too.
You are going
The
after both of
Forerunner,
your namesakes.
the Forerunner race is very similar to the Zelnaga in StarCraft.
Are you trying to claim that Halo has ripped off StarCraft?
Yes, the universe
Okay,
is
as long as I got
different
that
enough.
recorded.
However, the universe is different enough. However, a lawsuit can't happen.
As long as I got that recorded for all of our fans to hear.
Yeah, I'm saying that Halo ripped off StarCraft.
You went there.
However, they made it different enough where it can't be. It can't be. There will never be a lawsuit. And I'm not saying it. Either one of those universes are bad because I love both storylines quite a bit actually, and I was competitive with both. So they're very.
I didn't know this was going to be a controversial episode in the first 2 minutes.
What do you think?
I
For
have
us,
no
the very
opinion.
zealous race.
I am going to
very
let
zealous race.
you can make your own bed here.
The Zerg primary goal is to devour everything in its path. Flood primary goal, devour everything in its path.
I went to school with some people who that was their game plan.
The Zelnaga, right? The Zelnaga, they created both the Protoss and the Zerg. The Forerunners pretty much are the same way. They created the Flood, as well as they have a lot of theories in there that they might have created the Covenant, or at least brought those races together.
Do you want to just try and throw Mass Effect in there somehow?
I can't throw in Mass Effect. I don't know enough about the storyline, nor do I think I could throw it in there.
All right.
However, I think it can match with it. No, actually, thinking about it, I think that it's very similar. The thing is, that the sci-fi universe, they're not creative anymore. They're taking parts of stories from other universes and smashing them into a game. The story writers have lost creativity, and they're bringing things from other games and other influences simply because they've worked on other games and they simply don't feel like creating a new universe. They just are fine with the new mechanics from the game and changing it pretty vastly. And the only way that they're changing it vastly is simply because they go into a new genre.
Is it beyond the realm of consideration that they're sticking to aliens when they should be inventing some new monster?
I think it shouldn't be the fact that they should be creating a new monster, but they should change something rather than just... It should still be aliens. I'm fine with that, with the whole sci-fi thing. And aliens, I mean, a very vague term. It just means another species. But the thing is they keep going with this over religious group. basically they're making religion look completely awful. Which, if you think about it in that perspective, a lot of people would be really upset. But most people don't look into that. However, you look into the fact that every alien race seems to be extremely religious. Doesn't make any sense to me whatsoever. Why can't there be an alien race that obtains in no way towards religion? I mean, it's that simple to come up with an alien race that doesn't believe in religion.
Well, you could counter that aliens are always a basis off of a form of humanity, and most of humanity is based on a religion of some kind.
Of humanity. They always attribute it to a form of humanity, which the problem is they've only picked one form of humanity to obtain it towards. They have not decided to go in which the alien race isn't just advanced in us technology-wise, but they are advanced in us mentally, physically, in a lot of other ways. Also, they seem to take the same basic structure. The aliens that they come up with always seem to take the same basic structure. There is no creativity in creating. I know it's extremely hard to do. From what I've talked to from concept artists and a few other things, it's extremely hard to come up with a brand new species that doesn't look too similar to some species we already have. And yeah, you're going to take similarities no matter what. That's just how basic anatomy works, so on and so forth. But because the only examples we can go off of is what we know, which is things on Earth. So, but regardless, we can still be creative enough to not make things so similar to the human race. Why can't we have intelligent-looking dogs? I mean, why not? Why can't we have that? Opposable thumbs? We'll give them like some weird-ass arms coming out of there. I mean, there's just other things that I think it needs to be played with more, and I think that we lack the creativity in this gaming universe now, where we're so busy on creating a pretty-looking game that we haven't really worried about anything else anymore. We're so worried about graphics now. Like, all the kids that I talk to now is like, oh, this game sucks, it has terrible graphics. That doesn't make the game at all.
Pac-Man made a lot of money.
Well, that was because it was an earlier game. It wasn't the first game, but it was an earlier game.
Okay. Minecraft has done well.
Minecraft has done extremely well. Extremely well, but there's still a lot of people that wouldn't like it simply because of the graphics.
This is true. I've heard a lot of people...
And you gotta think about it. Who were the first people that really started giving credit to Minecraft? Typically older people were playing it, not kids. And then kids caught wind of it when it got released and everything, and they were all over it.
Yeah.
Out of nowhere they went all over it, simply because the adults started playing it first.
That is fair. Although my nephew does love it, if you haven't noticed from the other stuff on the Phoenix channel. The Jacosaurus and me have teamed up to make some stuff on Minecraft. We filmed it because it seemed like a good idea.
Oh, how did that go? Xbox version or PC?
Xbox version.
Oh, okay. Little console gamers.
I know
so cute.
I know it's not as good as the PC version. Don't judge me.
Oh, I'll judge all I want. I seem to be doing that today, so...
Well, stop it.
I'm not judging you. I'm really frustrated with the creativity that the sci-fi universe seems to have lately. And why does the fantasy universe seem to always come up with these unique creative things constantly, but you never see it from the sci-fi universe? It's always recycled bullshit.
That's a good question.
Why is it that the fantasy universe always have these really intriguing storylines, while the fantasy they don't really care about the graphics so much, and then you got the sci-fi that are so obsessed with the graphics? Why can't we have a cartoony looking sci-fi with really? I think that would be really interesting. But the thing is like I was saying in a past.
What about XCOM?
XCOM, okay. Well, XCOM 2 is coming out. The new XCOM is coming out, but it's still going really. It's adding a unique mechanic, which I'm excited about. I don't know too much about the storyline. Can't really say anything until I play it, and if it's original or not, and if it actually stays true to the old XCOM. The problem is that it is really flashy and really nice, and that's a good thing. I'm not saying that don't make games really nice and pretty. It's just that shouldn't be the first priority. That should never be your first priority, to make a game flashy and nice.
Unless that's the intention. I have seen games where the whole point was a form of art, which is completely okay if you ask me.
Yeah, no, I mean, if you make the game... But the thing is I've seen games that have a amazing storyline and amazing artistic value, as well as amazing mechanics. But the thing is they don't fit together. Those three things are the most important things to make sure that they fit and match well together. That's what's going to make your game great or not so great. Just a good game.
He just went there on that too. Vita is laying the law down.
Together. The thing is they don't flow together. A lot of games, they don't flow those things together. They work so separately, and they just talk to these little individual managers and whatnot, and they talk together and see how it's going. The thing is the whole team doesn't work together. It's a team for a reason. A whole group of people work on this stuff for a reason. And if they never get the chance to talk to each other, just the big guys get to talk to each other, it just doesn't work out. And the thing that sucks is, the main reason is because games take so long to develop. It would mean a lot more money. But I don't think that it really takes that much more time to just exchange a couple words every now and then between everyone. Just having the ability for everyone to be able to talk to everyone.
That's a fair point.
And, I mean, yeah, I haven't taken any game development classes and all that stuff, so I'm sure there's a lot of things I'm missing, but I think I make some pretty valid points.
Oh, no. In all my studies at an attempt to be a game developer, communication is huge.
Yeah, and I don't feel like a lot of these companies... I think a lot of companies are restricting communication, especially the bigger ones.
Yeah.
And I think that's why small developers are making so much money right now, is because they focus on those things.
Well, I don't know that they're necessarily making any more money, to be honest with you, but I think they're making more interesting games. Money,
but they're getting a lot more attention.
They're making more interesting games.
Yeah. And I think that all has to do with the fact that usually it's a group of friends, and that means that they talk together, regardless of what party they're working on, whether it's concept art or mechanics or level design or programming or any of that. They all talk to each other.
Remember Portal? This game here was made by a small group of people originally.
Exactly. So, wasn't it their professor that walked up to Gabe Newell at some convention or whatever?
Grabbed him.
Grabbed him and said, "You need to look at this. They did an amazing job on this."
Mm-hmm.
And actually, they came out of Washington State. Yay!
They were from DigiPen, yeah.
Yep. Yay!
Yay, go you.
Hey, anything from Washington's badass, alright?
Like your Supersonics. Oh!
They left because they were shit, so that's perfectly fine.
Oh, man. We just lost every viewer in Washington State after that. Dang.
Man, so many people are going to hate me after watching this.
They're going to hate you or me?
Either one.
Ooh.
I don't know. I think we are definitely coming up with a pretty controversial episode, aren't we?
Oh, my goodness.
We're just throwing everything we can out there. Oh, boy. Oh, boy. Also, while we're on this talk of controversy.
Oh, Lord.
I am extremely disappointed in the StarCraft 2 storyline campaign. And I know this is old news and everything, but I think not enough people have talked about it.
Interesting.
StarCraft 1 and StarCraft Brood War had a very mature campaign storyline. And the thing is yeah, it was in... I think this released before they had game ratings, right? When did they release game ratings?
I don't know.
Was it 93 that they released game ratings?
I don't know.
I think it was 93. I'm not sure. Let me do the research on that really quick. So, John, entertain people while I look at that. What is the game rating thing called?
The ESRB?
ESRB. came out what year? No, I think it was the main reason was
Mortal Kombat, wasn't it?
Yeah, I was about to say Mortal Kombat was the main reason they came out. So if I figure out when Mortal Kombat came out,
I wouldn't necessarily go with that, but
no, I wouldn't go with that either. You know, there's two versions of Mortal Kombat: the one with red blood and the one with blue and green blood. Simply with the fact that that if they thought if they changed the color of the blood, it wouldn't be as graphic.
Interesting.
Yeah. Which I wouldn't agree with that, but the ESRB start was founded in 1994.
Oh,
so
good try.
It's pretty close. Pretty close. So it actually came out a year later. So yeah, StarCraft 1 and Brood War came out before the ESRB. So it was able to have that type of thing without these guidelines. But however, I think that instead of StarCraft 2 being a teen game, they should have made it a mature game. Because a lot of the people that played StarCraft 1 and Brood War were older. And the ones that wanted their kids to play would have gotten the game for them anyways. And I think didn't need to follow that one because there's a lot of things in the storyline that just doesn't make sense. And the lead story writer for StarCraft 2 he likes this comic book approach, which doesn't really work for a universe like StarCraft. It doesn't, because you don't have this superhero that goes through these challenges, falls and then rises, and all these challenges. He focused way too much on Jim Raynor, the main character, and when there was more characters out there, and they completely got rid of other main characters that were around, like and they briefly touched on other ones. I'm fine with that. They only gave us one campaign. Like StarCraft 1 and StarCraft Brood War had every race available as a playable campaign. StarCraft 2, on the other hand, it's releasing in smaller packages. Basically, StarCraft 2, Wings of Liberty, the first one, Heart of the Swarm coming out soon, and then followed by something of the Void. I forget.
Great research.
But for the most part, is that Jim Raynor swore to kill Kerrigan, and then at the end of StarCraft 2, spoiler alert,
more controversy.
He changes Kerrigan back to human after he swore to kill her for killing his best friend, Phoenix.
Hey.
Phoenix. Yeah.
What?
So...
What?
And after massacring hundreds and thousands of Terrans and millions of Terrans in Protoss, I mean, I don't get it. And plus, he never really deals with... he's still completely angry with the guy that originally betrayed them. I can't remember his name.
Oh, I'm not worried about that. I'm worried about they killed who?
Phoenix.
I'm not happy with this now.
Yeah, Kerrigan killed Phoenix.
I knew I hated that game for a reason.
Kerrigan killed Phoenix, but the thing is the first time he died, he comes back even more badass.
That's right.
And then, basically, he got reborn. I guess I don't know why they call him Phoenix, but I guess they were already planning for that, so they thought it would be a perfect name for him.
Oh,
yeah. And then he ends up dying again.
God!
I haven't seen him since. But he dies saving pretty much everyone's lives.
I don't want to save nobody. I want to be alive.
And Tassadar, he dies too, saving everyone's lives.
I don't want to be a savior.
You are a savior in StarCraft 2.
No.
Or StarCraft 4. Sorry.
No. I defy you and your silly game.
Oh, man. It's not a silly game. You know, millions of people play this game, still. And it's been like 2 years after release, so... I think it will be officially 2 years by mid-August. Or 3 years. I don't know. One of the two. Wait a second. When did I get out of high school? Because it came out summer of after high school. So, or was it a year after? No, yeah, it was summer after.
I'm not talking to you.
So, Yep. 3 years. It's coming up on 3 years now.
I'm still not talking to you.
Because Phoenix dies?
That's one of the reasons.
What's the other reason?
Well, that's a pretty good one, actually.
What's the other reason? You said that's one of the reasons.
I lost track. I was too insulted by me dying.
Oh, boy. I guess our topic for GankTank, I know this is really late, is controversial subjects. You got another one?
How about abortion?
Throw out as many as possible.
How about abortion? Just kidding, don't do it.
Just kidding, don't do it?
Don't do it. Don't do it. Hey.
I think it's completely up for the choice.
VitaLetum.
What? I think people have the right to choose. I don't think that the general public has the right to choose for someone else. I think every individual has the right to choose whether or not they have or don't have a baby. I think that is a right that every human being should have and should not be biased based on religion.
Tell me we are not talking about abortion.
We are, and I just went there, and I just said it, and now millions more people are going to hate me.
Lord, we're trying to gain viewers.
Yeah, we're going to gain viewers, because there's a lot of people with my views, too.
Yeah, a lot of people without them, too.
Well, that just means the more haters we have means we're doing something right, because that also means the more people that follow us.
God. I have nothing to say to you.
In order to have a follower, you must have a hater first.
I have nothing to say to you.
You know it's true.
I know my foot is asleep.
You know your foot is asleep. Well, maybe if you don't position your body poorly.
I'm a gamer. There's no such thing as, like, good posture.
Yes, there is. I have great posture as a gamer.
That's because you're an Asian.
No, it's because I still work out and I used to play plenty of sports, so I'm a very in-shape gamer.
Because you're Asian.
No, it's not because I'm Asian.
Yes, it is.
I'm only a quarter Asian. Holy shit.
Most
of the people I know don't even consider me Asian because I'm only a quarter Asian.
Oh, I call you Asian.
Oh, God damn it. No more people are going to hate me now. Anyone that believes in that does have a faith is going to completely hate me and disown me in every way, shape, and form.
I would.
By the way, I have a lot of great friends that are religious, and we talk all the time, but we never try to offend each other because, I mean, everyone has the right to believe in what they want to believe and what they believe is right. As long as you have tried to attain to be a good person, I think you have every right to have the freedom of thought.
Except unless you're stupid. Then you don't have that freedom.
Well, no, then usually you listen to someone else.
No.
Yeah, usually that's how it works, is usually, even if you have your own thought, you tend to listen to someone else. More controversial things, John?
Oh, what else? What else can we lose fans over?
We're not losing fans. I think we might actually gain more simply because people are going to be raging at us so much.
Wonderful.
I'm okay with that. They're just giving us views. Hate us all you want. If you're watching our video, you support us.
Wow. I'm supposed to be the person who says stuff like that.
I guess I'm in a very hateful mood today.
Oh, Lord.
It's not a bad thing.
Yes, it is.
It's a terrible thing.
Terrible.
Oh, man.
Controversy. EA versus Activision. Go.
EA versus Activision. Well, first off, I think they have amazing business plans, but I think they have horrible reaction to the public, general public, and consumer. And Activision, EA is actually worse, I think, at the moment than Activision.
Interesting.
Yeah. We'll take a look at Origin to begin with. They're trying to compete with Steam. They're completely against, which I understand why they're against the whole mass sale thing, because oddly enough, Valve makes a lot of money off of that, but the people that actually develop the games don't get very much of a cut at all. In fact, they almost completely lose out on these big Steam deals. But the thing is the reason why I'm for these Steam deals is because it gets the game name out there more, and when it goes off of sale, the people who did buy them will spread the word, and more people end up buying it anyways. So, in a long-term stance, that's a good idea, but short-term, terrible idea. EA is more for short-term sales, while Valve is more for long-term sales. And that's how Valve has always been. And then Activision, on the other hand, they're very repetitive. They find one game and they linger onto it and make as much money off it as possible. The actual games that EA or that Activision has actually developed on their own, complete and utter trash, but all the companies that they're partnered with or own are the ones that make the great games. But Activision, as a developer, complete and utter trash.
Fair enough.
So, yeah. So just for the sake of, and Activision has more money than EA, and the only reason why that is because EA doesn't really care about partnerships or more of a standalone thing, while Activision just tries to buy out every developer or partner with every developer as possible.
Yeah.
So, in fact, I think if you want to get into stocks, Activision's always a great bet because on average, I've been looking, they at least partner up with 1 to 2 developers every year for the past 7 years. So you might as well buy stocks into them because they'll keep growing until they decide to stop that. So yeah, that's what I think. So if there is stock options for Activision, get into them. Why you can and why they're cheap, because I don't think they're too expensive yet. EA, however, don't buy into them because their games are hit or misses. Either they make a lot of money. The only reason why that EA still makes a lot of money is because they have a monopoly on the sport games, on the sporty games.
Did you hear the new one they added? And this is going to lead to a question coming shortly. They got the UFC.
Really?
Yeah.
So yeah, EA has a monopoly on sport games in general. So.
Which is then going to lead to this next question of what's the over-under on how long THQ has left?
What do you mean?
How long do you think THQ is going to stay around?
Because EA has it?
No, because THQ is dying.
What's THQ?
The major game company THQ.
Yeah, I think EA is going to eventually have the entire monopoly, and they'll probably end up partnering with them because they don't want a monopoly, because again, that's illegal in the United States, and the way that companies still end up with monopolies is by partnering with other companies. And,
someone's going to have to partner with because THQ is on its last legs, to my understanding.
It's a loophole in the U.S. government and law books is companies partnering with other companies. So companies end up with huge partnerships, but they're kind of underlaid with these partnerships of other companies, even though one company has complete and utter control of what the other companies do.
Yeah.
So I think that eventually that needs to be addressed in the U.S. because I think that we need small government state by state, and we need the large government, of course. But I think what's really important is we need more corporations rather than more. We need less big corporations and more smaller corporations. I think that's where we're misguiding our things, where we're focused on this whole government battle, when we should be really focused on, we should refocus on the economy and refocus on making corporations smaller back to, rather than having these super giants spread out. So if one super giant fucks up royally, we take a huge hit in the economy. where we have multiple corporations that have a decent amount of money. One of them goes out and does something and really screws up. It doesn't affect the entire nation.
Interesting.
So there needs to be more laws added into how partnerships work with companies.
It's got an economy lesson with VitaLetum.
Yes, I'm a lot smarter than I seem. Kind of.
That's because he's Asian.
That's not the reason.
Yes, it is.
Oh, man. No, you know, it's really weird. I don't know if I agree with it yet, but a lot of studies are pointing towards that the average gamer has a higher IQ than the average person. The only problem is that the average gamer tends to be a little more lazy when it comes to life goals.
That sounds like you.
No, I have huge life goals. What are you talking about?
Yeah.
Huh.
Oh.
Hey, just because I'm not bent on world domination does not mean I don't have big enough goals.
That's not big enough. If you're not trying to take over the world, you're not trying.
I just went over the whole economy debate where I think corporations should be smaller. So I think that doesn't mean I don't know. No, just you should not be trying to take over the world. I think you would make way too many enemies that way.
We're already talking about abortion on YouTube, and you're concerned with making enemies.
I'm not concerned with making enemies. I'm concerned with making the wrong enemies.
Like who?
I don't know, the entire world from wanting to take over the world.
I believe I've also stated that it is one of my life goals to be assassinated, not murdered.
That would be, I would rather be assassinated than murdered. I think anyone would be too, because that would mean that you became someone of note rather than not someone of note.
Right.
Well, no, because even people that are... I wonder what's the difference between assassination and murder, because if you think about it, there's been a lot of famous people that have been murdered, and it's not considered assassination.
Right.
So would that mean that the person had to be paid? Or a part of an organization that wanted you killed that would lead to assassination?
No. You have to be a leader.
You have to be a leader.
Presidents and kings are assassinated.
No, because there's been people a part of corporations and other things that have been assassinated and has been determined as assassination. So I think loosely the term would be officially based on what's the word? Would be officially based on if the person who killed you was paid to do so, or was a part of an organization who planned to do so.
So you're going to say that Kennedy was not assassinated?
I think it was a part of an organization that wanted him dead, or a government that wanted him dead, or one of the following, or other reasonings that involve those type of things.
Oh yeah, we're getting controversial now.
So yes, Kennedy was definitely assassinated. But also there has to be enough people to hate you. If enough people hate you, then yes, you're assassinated. Also, if it's done publicly, I think that would be considered closer to assassination, but that is loosely based as well. So I think the term itself is loosely based.
A matter of opinion?
By matter of opinion, yes.
Well, go ahead and attach that with me. If I get killed by somebody else, I was assassinated, not murdered.
Okay, so no matter what, you'll be assassinated.
Yes.
Okay.
If I die of cancer, I want it to be considered I was assassinated.
No, you would just die. You wouldn't be killed. You wouldn't be murdered.
I was assassinated by cancer.
You would be murdered. No, you wouldn't even be murdered. You would just kind of be dead from your own health issues.
Don't ruin my dreams.
Oh man. So yeah, there's a lot loose ends there, so I don't know how to exactly go about that. More controversial things. Let's do this.
Just more controversial things.
Let's go for it.
Like what? I'm running low on things.
You're running low on things?
Yes.
How are you running low on things? There's so many controversial things in this world, it's ridiculous.
So I'd like to retain a few viewers.
We can keep a lot of viewers. Just because we're talking about controversial things doesn't mean we'll lose or gain any viewers.
Yes,
In fact, I think we would probably gain more viewers for the simple fact that we don't have many.
Oh, thanks for reminding me.
So I think this is better than worse at the moment.
I have nothing to say to you. Also, you might have to talk to people for a little while because I actually have to use the restroom. That might be a little controversial. Oh yeah, discussing your other practices. Controversial.
My other practices. Such as?
I was trying to think of a good word there, but I couldn't think of it.
It's alright. We all get brain dead every now and then.
Not safe around me being the second most prolific zombie slayer of all time.
Are you?
Yes, we've discussed this before.
I think I would be the best zombie slayer.
I don't know.
No, I would be the best zombie. I would be the first one to evolve into a super zombie.
What? No such thing as a super zombie.
I will turn into a super zombie. You can't stop me. And you will be terrified of me. Because I'll be even worse than a tank.
I will call up Isaiah Black, and that will be the end of you.
Damn it. Damn it.
Oh yeah, you can act like you know who Isaiah Black is.
No, I know now. The best zombie slayer of all time.
Yes. See,
who happens to also be no, Isaiah Johnson's my friend. Never mind. I'm thinking of two different people. Joseph Black and Isaiah Johnson.
You know, Isaiah and Joseph, close.
Very close. You know, I was just thinking about something. You know what we should do?
What?
Is we should just every year we should pick a place other than just going to PAX every year. We should also do another thing. So like every 6 months we go to something major, so PAX, and then we just pick a random place around the world to go to and just do stuff from there. I think that would be kind of cool.
It'd be cool. You want to pay for it?
I'll save up for it. I'll pay my half.
I mean half.
I'll pay my half.
What about Flo?
What?
What about Flo?
Well, Flo, that depends if he actually wants to save for it or just wants to be him. And plus, he was kind of stupid and had a kid early, so.
Even more controversy.
Hey, it's not a bad thing. It's not bad to have a kid early. It's just not on everyone's list. No one really plans to have a kid that early. I mean, again, it's not a bad thing.
Changing subjects.
It's not a bad thing. I mean, I can't wait to be at the age where I want to have a kid. I'm not going to lie.
Changing subjects again, because this is getting way too awkward.
Awkward for who? You or me?
Oh, Lord. What's going on here?
I think it's only awkward if you want it to be awkward.
What's going on here?
Everything.
That's what I'm afraid of.
You're the one that decided to do an hour topic with actually no official topic.
Oh, there's an official topic. I just don't know what it is.
Yeah, we changed it to controversy.
Yay, controversy. Brilliant.
I think we should go back to video game controversy.
Okay.
Let's think. Let's think. Bungie. I want you to speak about Bungie. Your opinions on Bungie. Do you have faith in them still, or are you kind of worried?
I'm buying the next game.
You're buying the next game?
Mm-hmm.
They want to completely branch out of the FPS genre.
So I've heard.
How do you think that's going to be? They want to make an RTS and an RPG, and they want to make an FPS, and they're developing them all at the same time?
If they want to try it.
I'm worrisome that they're all going to have very similar aspects because
really
at the same time.
You're concerned they're all going to be very similar.
Yes. They're part of different genres. I'm not talking about the fact that they're in different genres. I'm talking about the fact that they're just not. They're just. How should I put it? One's a futuristic game. One is a more, I guess, is an old game that they did before that they're kind of re-emerging and improving, which is a fantasy-based game. But I'm worried that my biggest worry is that even though like one's sci-fi and one's fantasy-based and such, my biggest worry is that even though they're in completely different arcs in different universes and everything, I'm worried that the storyline is going to have very similar aspects. Kind of like how I was describing with a lot of sci-fi games lately.
Fair enough.
And simply because I don't think that they would have enough money to get enough writers to have different writers for each game. And they're probably going to keep the same lead writer for each game. Or if it's any different, it's still going to be the same writing team. So it's all going to be the same writing team, but a different person for each. Different person will be leading it for each game to kind of hopefully avoid it. But the problem is I don't know how much that's actually going to work yet, or how talented these writers are. And if you take a look at Halo, because of how similar the Covenant is and the Flood is from StarCraft 2 and everything, that's where I get more worried.
You StarCraft favoritist.
I'm not a StarCraft favoritist. I'm just taking subtle but very very noticeable similarities between the games.
You don't want to say anything about Predator and the Predator face and the Elite face?
Oh yeah, we got that one too, but I think that one's okay. I think that one's okay.
Because it's not StarCraft.
It's because I don't know how to explain it. It's fine to take things from other things, but I don't know how to explain it. Like,
see, Predator is not StarCraft, and I'm not concerned with Predator.
What the race specifically does, at least from the Predator to the Covenant, they do completely different things as a race. But the thing is, from the Protoss to the Covenant, they do the exact same thing as a race.
No.
Yes. Have you ever played through StarCraft 1, StarCraft Brood War, or StarCraft 2? No, you haven't.
Well, no.
So you have no obligation to an opinion.
I have an obligation to an opinion.
A terrible one, regardless of what it is.
Well, that's not very nice.
So, yeah. I don't know. Also, I guess we can talk about Blizzard. I do want to talk about Blizzard too.
Okay.
I love StarCraft. I mean, everyone knows that. Yeah. And I say this almost every video we do. The thing is I really think that Blizzard is starting to show that it is partnered with Activision.
Oh, Lord.
Yeah.
Ooh.
I think Diablo 3 was the first major sign. I think a couple of the recent campaigns for World of Warcraft was another sign. I actually think the creation of World of Warcraft was the very first sign that something was up.
Aggressive today.
Huh?
Aggressive today.
Just the whole subscription base is something that Blizzard would have never done. And the fact that they did that kind of showed that something was up. Then you have the whole thing where Diablo, it feels like it was an unfinished game by release. And Blizzard has never been known to releasing an unfinished game. Of course, they've patched every game that they've released, but at least it was more complete than Diablo. Diablo kind of seems like we got half of the game at release. And it shows with patches that they're making. They're going to release PvP in the future and a few other things, and it's awful. It's almost like Blizzard, Activision was like, all right, you got to make a Diablo 3. You haven't made it in over 10 years. I mean, you made one for StarCraft and you didn't make one for Diablo. You got to make it. And I think, to be honest, Blizzard's initial reaction was, we're never going to make another Diablo. And I think it was just the pressuring from Activision and Blizzard finally saying, fine, Activision, you want Diablo 3, you develop it yourself. And I think that's what happened, and I think that Blizzard just took the name credit of it. And again, they set a date, and Blizzard has been very known for setting back release dates. Diablo was announced, and yeah, it took a couple years for it to be released, but they never announced a release date. And then out of nowhere, they released a release date, and they released it, and it's not even a finished game, not even close to a finished game. So that kind of shows that Activision pressured the release of it. So I'm just...
That is bold.
Yeah, it is a little bold, but I'm in a bold mood. But that's my feelings on it. What do you think?
I don't know enough about these silly games to give you an opinion on them.
You don't play games with a huge following behind them, so they're obviously good enough to have a huge background.
Oh yeah.
But I think you should play these games more often. But of course, you're keeping me as the PC expert, and you're saying the console expert.
Right.
Also, are you... I'm curious to see how Crysis 3 does. Is that what's coming out, what they announced? Crysis 3?
They announced it?
Yeah.
They might have, I don't know.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure there's going to be a Crysis 3. I don't know what to think about it, because that's one of the few games that is all about Flash. I mean, they have a decent storyline, of course, but that series has all been about pushing the computer to the limits.
Let's be honest, Crysis 1 was, hey, my computer can run it.
Yeah. It was basically a test to see if you had a really good computer or not.
Right.
Because if it didn't run, then obviously you didn't have the latest and the greatest computer.
Mm-hmm.
And Crysis 2 is the same way.
Yeah. It played on the Xbox, and it was buggy as could be.
Yeah, that's because they pushed the Xbox as hard as they could.
Buggy doesn't have anything to do with processing issues.
Buggy? What do you mean by buggy, then? Exactly.
They had enemies that would stare at you while you shot them in the face.
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, let's not talk about the game that I was extremely excited for and ended up being the worst game in the world, and I ended up selling it as fast as I could, hoping that people would take the game back.
What?
Holy shit! It's so bad I forgot the name. Remember, it had the Ark in it. Had a multiplayer campaign. Basically, campaign was run through
Brink?
multiplayer. Brink, yes.
I thought that was all right.
For how buggy and glitchy the game was.
I played well.
I think everyone played well in that game.
I played exceptionally well due to my semi-pro background.
Well, so did I. But the thing is the game was just god awful. That was an alpha release at best.
I don't think it was alpha bad.
I think it was alpha bad.
I think the big mistake is everyone tried to play it competitively, and no, that game sucks competitively. I played it online against people once.
The thing is that they had talked about it as if this was supposed to be the next big competitive game.
Well, how else do you talk about a game?
You don't talk about a game if it's meant to have a casual base. You talk about the casual base and what strong points it has. If you try to basically false advertise what the game is about, yeah, there's going to be a lot of people angry with you, and no one's ever going to buy your second game.
Yeah, they will.
All right, can you name one person out there that, other than you, that actually really enjoyed Brink?
Oh no, I didn't say I really enjoyed it. I said it was all right.
No, that's one of those games that it doesn't hit that all right stage unless it at least hits 3 good points.
It's a cool concept. The mechanics were decent. And the graphics fit well for what they were going for.
Were buggy as hell.
I didn't say they worked well. I just said they were a decent idea.
Again, I think in order to hit those 3 concepts, you kind of have to cold-heartedly nail 3.
I am in no way going to call it Game of the Year.
Oh, nor...
But I'm not going to say it was the fail Game of the Year either.
What would be the fail Game of the Year, then? When that released?
I don't know what year that was. All I know is the fail Game of the Year had to be APB. Which, I picked that too. I picked APB, and by God, that was the best customization suite I've ever used. Without question, there is no
I still
better.
Really think that they either bought the idea from that other company, because there's an arcade game with very similar aspects to APB, and it was called APB, All Points Bulletin.
I wouldn't put it past them. I wouldn't.
And just the fact that I found that in my dad's stash of arcade games, or storage of arcade games, was ridiculous. I just randomly ran into it too. But it was there. And apparently it did okay. It wasn't like a great arcade game or anything, but it had and then Brink was just...
You're still affected by
it. Anonymous actually hacked the Brink servers and said, "Fix your shit." And they had problems for the longest time because the group Anonymous was so mad at them.
That is outstanding.
Yeah, Anonymous was that mad at the game. You really, really, really have to piss off Anonymous for them to do something like that.
I'm a fan of theirs. I am a fan of theirs.
I'm a fan of some of the things they do. I definitely think that groups like them are necessary to keep certain things in check, but I definitely think that sometimes it can go too extreme.
No,
never. How could they? Right?
I just like it every time I hear someone say something, or hear like a news article about them. They hacked Visa. What? Cool. I'd like to do that. I wouldn't do anything with it, but I'd like to hack Visa myself.
Well, yeah, that's what Anonymous does. They hack things, but they don't really steal anything from anyone. They just do it just to do it, and they also do it when they get pissed off at a company. I think a company is just being a complete and utter jackass to consumers, or at least that's from the information that I've heard. But yeah, I definitely think that Brink deserved to be hacked by Anonymous. They definitely deserved it, and I would...
For all the hype going with it, I'll go with that.
I wouldn't rebuy it for 50 cents.
Aw, you can play with me.
No, I wouldn't rebuy it for 50 cents. I mean, I could go back to it and it could be the best game in the world, but simply because they fucked up that bad on the release, I wouldn't.
Oh, it didn't improve any.
Wow, they just left it like that?
It didn't get any better.
What a bunch of fucking scumbags.
There's only so much better you can do to it, really.
No, the thing is when you fuck up like that, you do everything in your power to patch that game and make it better. Because it is extremely hard to gain your reputation back after something like that.
Well, the problem with that theory is...
The only way that you're going to be able to do that as a developer is by fixing the game you already have.
Of course, the problem I have with that theory is I don't know how much of it was actually bugs as much as it was just not well designed.
Well, if it wasn't well designed,
you can't fix a bad design.
You can still patch the hell out of it. It might slow down the game, but I'd rather have a slowed down game than a buggy game.
Yeah.
Because the thing is how programmers work now is they don't actually rewrite codes, they write over codes.
Sure.
And that's my friend who's majoring in programming, is that it doesn't pay to be a great programmer. It pays to be an okay programmer, one that can just fix the problem rather than making a better program or just making the program better. The only thing that they're looking for programmers necessarily is being able to fix the problem as fast as possible.
Wonderful.
Which sucks because companies are extremely greedy, and that seems to be the main consensus in the past 10 years, is that companies just want to make more money and more money and more money, which hasn't necessarily been the case since basically for over 50 years, pretty much. That wasn't the main problem, and now it's becoming an increasing problem all over again.
Yeah.
So
they've lost the art.
They've lost the art of how to make money, and their greed is what's killing a lot of companies. And I think a lot of companies who cared a lot more, even though it would take longer to become a big company, I really think that in the long run that would be more profitable for them because they would have a reputation that everyone would look forward to. Kind of like how Blizzard was able to gain that reputation, but now is slowly losing that reputation. However, it's really hard to lose the reputation once you gain it.
Yeah.
So,
oh, we still got more. I'm just now at GLaDOS's chamber.
Oh, okay. So, how much longer do we have?
Not too long.
Not too long. Okay. Do you beat this in like 2 minutes like some other people do?
I defeat her pretty quick.
Pretty quick. Yeah. After my first time beating... the first time trying to beat her was probably the most frustrating thing ever because I couldn't figure out how to do things. What I had to do in the boss fight, I didn't know that I needed to grab the balls that kept falling off, and once I figured out where to grab her little eyeballs, I didn't know where to throw them or what to do with them, so I'd randomly be trying to destroy them, throwing them at things.
Oh, that's a shame.
I figured it out, it was just a chamber to throw it down.
That is a shame.
And I felt pretty stupid.
You should.
It was pretty bad.
That's okay, I've died like 3 or 4 times in this recording, which is pretty bad for me.
Yeah.
And it's never because I don't know what I'm doing, it's always because of some random, oh, I missed my jump.
Yeah, that tends to be the case with a lot of games where... and I actually like those games. I'm fine with certain repetition as long as it's not to the point where you have to do it 100 times to finally nail it, even if you've been doing it for the past 5 years.
Super Meat Boy?
Yeah. Well, no, Super Meat Boy, I think that's kind of unique because they're speedruns. It's kind of like Mario. It kind of revived the whole Mario genre.
The old school 2D platformer?
Yeah. Which, great game design by theory, but definitely, I think needs to be more objective games like that, but extremely hard to make because 2D platformers don't exist anymore. So I don't know how you would make an FPS like that with a similar objective base as Mario and so on and so forth, while adding complexity to it.
How about Shadow Complex?
Huh?
How about Shadow Complex?
Possibly.
That was decent.
Yeah.
And I just kind of picked it up as a random arcade game.
Xbox arcade. Please don't say arcade game and if you're mentioning our Xbox, because two completely different things. Just saying. I'm a little touchy on that type of thing, simply because I basically have played all the platformer games and console games and stuff.
All right, paranoid.
It's not paranoia. It's more on the fact of if you say arcade, I think, oh shit, it's an arcade game. I haven't heard of it. And then when you finally say Xbox arcade, I'm like, you asshole. So it's more on so that those type of moments don't happen. Because that has happened to me before. You know what I think would actually be a really good game to actually release in the arcade game and might actually do well? Was Geometry Wars.
Ooh, yeah. That
I think if they could make that,
well.
not an Xbox arcade, but an actual arcade game, I think it would do really well. And I think there's a lot of games out there that should become arcade games, or at least have the ability to buy them as an actual arcade game. Simply because I think a lot of people will do that. Because I think Geometry Wars in the next 10 years will become a classic game.
Oh, snap.
It was that well. It was done really well. And it's extremely fun to play. So long as you didn't have seizures while playing.
The good news is you got about a minute.
The good news is I got about a minute, so I don't have to talk too much more and rant about controversial things.
Right.
Cool.
You can try and regain some of our fan base.
Regain some of our fan base? Well, how about this? How about if you didn't like what I was talking about, why don't you subscribe and you can complain about us later and just see what ridiculous things we come up with next. Or if you do like us, subscribe and like our video. And even if you don't like our video, go ahead and press the down vote button, because it still gives us a closer chance to being on the front page of YouTube. So it still counts as a part of the viewer base and everything like that. So it really does.
If nothing else, it's good feedback.
Yeah.
If it sucks, tell us. That way we know not to do that again.
Exactly. And the thing is about controversy is I'm okay with doing these type of videos. Main reason is whether you agree with this or disagree with this, at least we can get some insight of what you guys think, what other people think, and other sides of the story, and why you believe those certain things. And please try not to bring religion involved with any of the things that we talk about, because it's just, there's too many different types of religions. There's too many things to believe in and not to believe in regarding the afterlife and what is morality and what isn't. That is something debate that will never be won. So if we do say something about it, please do not try to argue us about it, because we simply won't do it.
Exactly.
And anyways, this was another episode of the GankTank. This was our controversial episode, kind of half-heartedly. But anyways, we love you guys. Rate and comment, and we'll talk to you again next time.